This episode is brought to you by Bureau, our title sponsor. With 8 vibrant locations in Miami's best neighborhoods, Bureau is the perfect co-working place to work, network, and thrive alongside other entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, and local businesses. Find your space at bureaumiami.com.
We're here with Jaime Sturgis, founder and CEO of Native Realty. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And he brought gifts, Ben.
He came in hot with a new bottle of tequila.
Yeah.
We love trying new tequila.
Yeah, we do. Don Fulano Añejo. This is a pretty bottle. It's even like, it's handwritten, the lote number and the bottle number.
Signed. I'm not going to bring you anything but the best.
Yeah, this is great, man. Thanks for bringing this. This looks
pleasure.
very, very small batch-ish. How long have you been drinking this?
I mean, you can only write on so many bottles.
I know.
Yeah. 5 or 6 years. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's like one of my favorites. It was hard to find. It's kind of becoming, a little bit more popular now, but it's phenomenal.
Where'd you get it?
Local liquor store.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, man. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You got some balls coming down here, Jamie. We love shitting on Fort Lauderdale, so you got to defend your hometown here.
I will. I'm bringing it back to where it all started.
We said the same thing to Tim and Alan.
Okay, nice.
They were our first guests from Fort Lauderdale, so we gave them a bunch of shit. But they defended Fort Lauderdale well, and then after all the shit talking we did on the podcast, they invited us up there and gave us a tour.
Dude, I got to say, I'm softening on Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, I know.
We were there last weekend with the kids at the Science Museum.
Uh-oh.
And then we went for a little walk afterwards on the waterfront at sunset, and it was so lovely. I was like, man, this is pretty sick.
It's come a long way.
Yeah.
It's
especially that area.
Yeah, Museum of Discovery and Science is amazing. Downtown's amazing. Solo, Flagler Village, Studio City, Sistrunk. I mean, there's all these neighborhoods that didn't exist a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And, so it's maturing kind of into its own right. Playing catch up with the city, obviously, but it's come a long way.
Yeah. So, we're stoked to have you here just to talk a little bit more about Fort Lauderdale. But I know you're from Fort Lauderdale, like born and raised there, right?
Native.
Yeah.
Yep.
You were early on. You worked for Metro One too. Wynwood, when Wynwood was really just starting to happen. So, you got to see Wynwood's growth really from basically when it really sort of turned. And then you saw some parallels with what was happening in Fort Lauderdale. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, but I think it's a cool story to share. I want to see what you saw between the two neighborhoods that inspired you to make the move back to your hometown.
Yeah, for sure. So I started my career 15, 16 years ago in Wynwood when Wynwood was really not a thing, right? Tony Goldman was still around. The vision was there, but it was sort of in the process of being put in motion. And I learned some amazing lessons, right? So I was coming out of the global financial crisis. You couldn't give away property. It was the worst time to start a career. But looking back on it, I'm so happy that I did, not only where I did, but when I did. I was just talking with the brokerage team yesterday, and I was saying hard times make good brokers, right? And so that whole process of learning to sell when nobody wanted your product, right? Whether it be the neighborhood or the climate at the time, and in this instance, it was both, right? It was an unproven neighborhood, but it was also just a terrible time to be in real estate. But the lessons that I learned going through that and the evolution of how to make a neighborhood and how to market it and, how to curate it and all those things, that was really the foundation of my career, and we've now since gone and replicated that on a number of different levels, granted different neighborhoods, but same thesis, right? Emerging markets, local and regional tenants for the most part that are defining the fabric of the neighborhood and really creating something where, rising tide lifts all ships and the sum of the pieces, becomes something really special.
Yeah, so we'll get into that, but we really want to get into your story first.
Sure.
So you were born in Fort Lauderdale?
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
What part of Fort Lauderdale?
East Fort Lauderdale, like off Las Olas, Idlewild.
Okay. Yeah. I don't. But that's pretty close to downtown.
Yeah, right down the street. Yeah. So
Okay.
Las Olas is essentially the spine. As you go west, it goes right into downtown, our urban core. Yeah.
All right. And your folks, where are they from and what do they do?
So my dad was from Michigan. My mom was from New York. My dad moved down, both my parents moved down, I think in the 70s. My dad dropped out of college and started like a tech hi-fi business with some friends, kind of where my entrepreneurial spirit comes from. So sort of like the precursor to Best Buy. It was called Sound Advice at the time. And so they were doing tech hi-fi, car stereos, all sorts of consumer electronics.
They were kind of big, weren't they, Sound Advice?
Yeah.
I remember them. Do you remember them, Ben?
No, I didn't see them.
Yeah.
It was before my time.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. And, so I got not only that entrepreneurial spirit, but I also got to kind of learn through osmosis.
But your
right?
dad was involved with them early on, Sound Advice?
Yeah, so he was one of the founders, yeah.
Oh,
so
really?
him and his couple friends dropped out of college, moved down here and started it
How
from
many
scratch.
stores do they have?
I don't remember if it was, I want to say 34 is like the number that comes to mind.
Yeah.
I mean, they grew it large and they did an IPO, the whole 9 yards. So, by virtue of that, I was in the back seat a lot listening to, my dad was always focused on figuring out like the right retail location and helping them do the site selection, right?
Yeah.
So figuring out, the trade areas or the visibility or the square footage or, whatever it was, all the things that go into retail leasing that we all now know, I was listening to it as a little sponge in the back seat, and
So your dad started this business and how old were you?
I mean, as long as I can remember, he was in it. So, he moved down in 74. I was born in 88. So, he was several years into it by the time I was born.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And was that South Florida focus this?
They were across the state of Florida, but yeah, it was Florida focused.
Florida.
Yeah.
And
with
they
a
bought
big
or
presence.
leased retail?
Leased for the most part, which in hindsight, he wishes that they
of
had
course.
purchased, of course.
But these were pretty big box stores, right? Like
Yeah.
there were how many square feet? 5,000, 10,000 square feet
Bigger,
stores?
like
Yeah.
10, 15.
Yeah.
The craziest thing about Sound Advice is it's the only store that I can remember that for whatever reason, when they moved out, they stayed vacant with the signs up for decades. I mean, quite literally up until last year, there was one in Fort Lauderdale on Federal Highway, like main location with the sign still on the building.
Did your dad sell the business or what happened to the business?
So they did the IPO and then he got out of the business a couple years after that.
Okay.
Yeah. But so there was a period, so I'm talking like 20 years that some of these retail storefronts in prime locations have just been sitting there untouched, like no change at all, which is crazy to me.
Why? Why were they?
I don't know.
Why weren't they released?
I don't know. And like I said, it wasn't just that one, right? Like there was another one in, I think, South Miami, same thing. Like I drove by and I was like, how is that still possible? Like it's been closed for 20 years and
that's
the
crazy.
sign is still on the outside of the building. So I don't know.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Fort Lauderdale? Like what were you into as a kid? Because I saw you're a surfer, you're an outdoors guy, you fish, you're mountain biking. Is that what you did growing up? Or?
I still do, yeah. Everything in the ocean, right? So we spent a lot of time. I mean, I was driving a little Novarania when I was, 8 or 10, like that was my freedom. We'd go out there and we would just go play around. Obviously, different place, a lot quieter, a lot less traffic on the water. So it was a lot safer to do that at a very young age. But anything and everything in the ocean, right? So diving, surfing, now foiling and all those other things, spearfishing, and mountain biking. Pretty much anything adrenaline focused, I seem to be gravitate to.
Talking my language.
Yeah.
I love that shit too. Did you guys live on the water?
We did, yeah. So
sick.
my parents are still in the same home, like 30 some odd years later.
That's epic. What a great way to grow up.
Yeah, it was priceless.
I had a cabin growing up in Minnesota that was on the lake, but we only got 4 months out of the year there. So I can't imagine year round. It's probably amazing.
Yeah, nice warm water too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And did your mom help in the business too?
She did, yeah. So that was sort of the first iteration, right? Was the Sound Advice, and then after that, my dad got out, and he wanted to spend more time with my brother and I. So again, I had an amazing childhood.
Older or younger brother?
Older, 3 years, and him and I are best friends. So all of those sports that we were talking about, he got me into a lot of those, surfing and foiling and all these other things. So we go and play together all the time. But so that was the first iteration with Sound Advice. My dad wanted to retire from that so he could spend more time with us. We did amazing trips as kids, like in the Bahamas, 4 or 6 weeks at a time, living on a boat and not touching land. It was amazing. Yeah.
Epic.
And then after that, my father and mother got into a company called Offshore Yachts, so like long range cruisers, and they were bringing those in. So he was the East Coast distributor, and my mom is an interior designer, and so she was doing all of the outfits on the interior.
Oh, cool.
So we'd bring them in. That was my first job, was in a boatyard. We were in there fitting it out. So essentially the boat would come over from Taiwan and everything would need to be put in, all the soft goods, hard goods, stuff like that.
And how old were you when you started working in the boatyard?
12, 13 probably,
Yeah.
I'd guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Some child labor laws.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say I love some
Yeah.
child labor. Just throw
Who doesn't?
the children yearn for the boatyards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it fun? Because it sounds kind of fun, but I can imagine it gets old pretty quick.
It was fun. I mean, so again, I got to work alongside my family, right? My
Right.
brother, my dad, my mom. I was sanding teak and, whatever other little things I could do to be useful. There wasn't a lot, right? But I was, again, learning through osmosis. I was watching the pecking order. I was understanding, the chain of command and the order of operations of things, right? Because everything had to go in a very detailed sequence in order to hit the project on time. So sort of construction 101 in a lot of sense. And again, camaraderie, right? Everybody was working hard and rowing in the same direction to meet or beat the deadlines. So it was cool.
It's awesome.
So family of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Learn some hustle.
Yeah, right.
Fitting out boats for
Yeah.
sure.
Ben, you know what they say in real estate, if people don't know you, they're not doing business with you.
Exactly. That's why the Built World podcast works with top of mind public relations, because being a best kept secret sure doesn't pay the bills.
Paula Uspa Abbott, the brains behind Top of Mind PR, is a former real estate journalist, so she knows exactly what makes the media pay attention.
And let's be real, getting in the press isn't just about bragging rights. It's about building credibility, landing deals, and making sure the right people know your name.
Whether it's top-tier media coverage, killer storytelling, or just making sure you're the one people think of first, Top of Mind PR has you covered.
Want to stand out? Hit up topofmind-pr.com or email info@topofmind-pr.com.
Because in real estate, if you're not visible, you're invisible.
Both my parents came from very humble beginnings. So, they have a really strong drive that they instilled in both my brother and I, which I credit to this day. It's sort of like an insatiable hunger where I want to do more. I want to optimize. I want to push. And so, I can't thank them enough for that.
What were you good at in school? Like, what were some of your subjects? Or were you good at school?
I was not very good in school.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Finally.
Yeah.
One of us.
We're in good company finally.
One of us.
Were there any subjects that you enjoyed or you hated?
So marine biology was my favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Like I took that in high school, and that, I think, changed my life. It just everything about it, environmental science. I mean, all of that. Again, I was already sort of a steward of the planet, where I had a deep passion for it just through my passions. But that was eye-opening, right? And then I really started to understand, some of the science behind it and the economics behind it and some of the impacts that certain industries have, right? Hospitality and hotels and all these things. And so that changed my perspective on things. Still to this day, like there's certain things like golf, for instance, right? Like all my friends are into golfing, and I have this like weird chip on my shoulder where I know that it's terrible for the environment, and so like I'm holding out, right?
Plus, it's just kind of lame. Also,
Yeah, I mean, it's we can probably have a long conversation about
how boring golf is.
Listen, I played golf in high school, so I can appreciate the sport, but it's the land, I look at the land in Miami Shores and I'm like, man, this could be repurposed for so many better uses than a golf course that, I don't know, 200 people use a day, but I feel you.
It had an impact,
Yeah.
so it stuck with me.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I was not a very good student.
Just trying to get outside.
Yeah, I wanted to play,
Yeah,
right?
I hear you.
So need to stretch the legs.
Yeah.
And then you went to FSU.
Went to Florida State, yeah, with a bunch of my friends from high school. And that was kind of when things started to turn a little bit, where like I wanted to focus on academics a little bit more.
Well, I mean, I see you graduated cum laude with a triple major in real estate, professional sales, and entrepreneurship.
Yep. Again, it helped that I found things I was passionate about, right?
How'd you find real estate so early?
So I was always interested in it, again,
Yeah.
by virtue of like listening to it growing up. The other common denominator that I saw was like in my friends, my parents' friends, the ones that were really doing the best and were the most successful. That was the common denominator amongst all of them.
Real estate? They all do
Real estate, yeah. Commercial real estate, yeah. So I always had an interest there. And another part of it was I wanted to be able to like have some form of an impact, right? And again, we'll come back to that like when we talk about Lauderdale and all of that. so I always knew that I wanted to do real estate. Florida State has an amazing real estate program. They also happen to have an amazing entrepreneurship program, which actually started while I was there. So I think we were the first or second year that went through it. Amazing experience. They also have an amazing professional sales program. So I was like, how would I not take advantage of all of these? And they all complement each other, and one bleeds over into the next. So it was an amazing experience. But I had fun while I was up in Tallahassee, but I also like really yearned to get back down here and like earn my own stripes and make a living. I forgot this until recently, but I was talking with my wife, and she was like, "Do you remember when you wanted to drop out, like in junior year, and like just
You met your wife in college?
Yeah,
Holy shit,
college sweethearts, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah."
Dang. Where's she from?
From Plantation,
Okay.
yeah, so South Florida.
That's crazy. I met my wife in junior year of college.
Oh, really?
Same, yeah. And she's from Weston. Well, she's from Argentina, but she went to school at St. Thomas.
Where were you guys at school?
Where are my kids in school?
No, where were you guys at school when you met?
Oh, a semester at sea.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So we were in like Cambodia, I think, when we met.
That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah. Yeah, sick. Super sick.
How did you like semester at sea?
Epic. Best thing I've done.
Nice.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a whole family out of it. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys met sophomore year of college?
Sophomore, junior. Yeah, I think sophomore.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what year did you graduate?
2011 or 2012.
Okay.
I forget which one.
And you were almost about to drop out.
Yeah, which I completely forgot. And she brought that up to me recently. I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that now. And she kind of talked me off the ledge.
Yeah.
She was like, finish what you started, get these degrees, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I wanted to work. I wanted to earn my own money. Right.
Get into it.
Yeah. I wanted to stand on my own two legs.
Enough theory. Let's just do the thing.
Yeah. There's only so much textbook knowledge you can learn. I think, street smarts is a big part of success or failure.
100%.
And so you graduate, and what do you do?
So before I graduated, I took an internship down in Miami at Metro One, and I came down for the summer and loved it. And as soon as I graduated, I came right back down, went full time. So essentially, I had been working since I was, 12 years old, or I forget when, saved up pretty much all of the money from that time until I graduated, and then proceeded to light that money on fire for the first 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
In a fun way or just survival
No,
way?
in a survival way.
Yeah,
Rent, food.
Well, because that's not I mean, if you graduate cum laude, I went to art school, so does that mean you had the highest GPA in the class?
I don't think it's the highest, but it's, I forget what
With honors or something?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
So, you have triple major. You could probably go get a job paying you a salary, and you decided to go in brokerage. Is that what it was, or were they paying you a salary?
Correct. Yeah, no, it was just eat what you kill.
Full commission,
100%
yeah.
commission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what made you have? Was it the savings that gave you the comfort to take that leap, or?
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, I was never cut for a corporate job, right? I couldn't climb the institutional ladder. I don't want the bureaucracy and the red tape of, going through all the processes. And I liked and believed in the neighborhood, right? And I wanted to learn and be around it. So it was a risk worth taking.
But 3 years of grinding before getting deals done, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you would make incremental, you make very small little clips. Look, I think that commercial real estate typically is like a...
Can we just back it up one? I got a quick question.
Sure.
So you did an internship at Metro One during college,
Mhm.
and then after college you came back and worked full time. Like, how did you get connected to Metro One? Like, what drove your interest in Wynwood?
So Tony at the time was up in Tallahassee. I'm not sure for what, and so that's how I met him. He was coming and talking to the school or something.
Gotcha.
And so I saw the opportunity close to home, and so that was how it all came about. And then the rest was sort of history. Once I did the summer internship, and I was there 7 years.
Ben, you and I are all about PropTech, and if there's one tool we absolutely cannot live without for a commercial real estate brokerage business, it's Vista.
Absolutely. Vista is incredible. We use it every single day, and we're always wondering, how do they do this? Every evening we get an email from them with real-time closed transactions. No more waiting around for months for the property appraiser to finally update.
Yeah, whether you're doing industrial, retail, office, land deals, they have every closed transaction. And it's not just the speed, Ben. The details are on point. Seller and buyer info, contact details, phone numbers, emails,
everything is accurate.
It's hands down our top prospecting tool to farm for warehouse deals in Hialeah. Visda keeps us one step ahead always. It's also the best way to search for comps when putting together opinions of values for clients.
Head on over to Visda.com and use code BuiltWorld and get 30 days free access today. VIZZDA.com.
And you were also doing marketing stuff too, weren't you? On the side,
Yeah,
or was that, what was that?
Yeah, so up in college, so that was my first business was Cloud9 marketing. And so essentially what we did was we would go to local businesses and we would sell them advertising space on 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. We would design it for them, then we would print 40,000 of them, and we'd go hand distribute them. My wife and I actually.
To the dorms?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, to like any large residential building that we could get a lot of them out. We were going and doing it. It was not a very scalable business, obviously, but it was a good lesson in kind of all of the things. And also was, an amazing testament to my wife that she was willing to run around and distribute 40,000 of these things with me.
Just passing out flyers.
Passing out flyers, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys moved to Miami in 2011.
Yeah. I moved down to Miami.
And is your wife in real estate as well? Or what is she?
No.
Or is she the sugar mama supporting you as well?
Yeah. She's a dietitian and nutritionist, so
Okay.
she has a master's degree in that. She's an incredible woman. She had her own business. She built that and sold it, and now is really focused on just being as present as she can be with our kids. But she also helped me on the native management side, which we'll get into in a minute. She's an amazing woman, and has been at my side through thick and thin.
So cool.
Yeah.
And you also did a little stint with Celsius too, I see.
Yes. Yeah.
That's gotta be weird to see how much they've blown up recently.
Man. Yeah. I wish I could have rolled like anything into the stock. I'd be a, multi-billionaire at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure. Were you just doing like brand ambassador stuff with them? Or?
We were, yeah. So they were literally shipping cases or pallets.
Just
actually.
like Red Bull was back in the day.
Yeah.
And this is during college.
College, yeah.
Yeah.
My friends loved it.
Yeah.
Of course. It was the best.
3 Red Bulls and like a cup of coffee and 1 can. And, I had 1,000 of them in my garage.
It's the
So
best.
yeah.
My buddy was a Red Bull ambassador in college, and we would just, he had the little Red Bull fridge, and we would just crush like,
Yeah, Ben's still addicted to this shit. He just has one like every afternoon.
oh yeah, I'll fuck up some energy drinks for sure.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So, again, my wife was helping me with that as an ambassador. We'd go to, 5Ks and triathlons and
Just
what
a
have
true
you.
hustler family.
Yeah.
You guys are just wheeling and dealing.
Yep. Yeah. We're
love it.
hungry.
So you started at Metro One, and what's that experience like? Are you paired with like a more senior broker? Do they just hand you a list of numbers and say start calling? Like, what was the initial process like for you?
No, we were kind of all independent, right? It was sink or swim. So it was go out and create business.
and how did you know even where to start?
We didn't, right? And so I like hard markets make good brokers.
That was a tough market too.
Trial and error. Yeah.
2011, 2012.
So what was your strategy?
Not a lot of shit was moving.
So at the time, I'm trying to think back. Encyclopedia-like knowledge, right? So like canvas one market, learn all of the owners, contact all the people.
What market were you focused on?
Wynwood at times, Upper East Side. We did a little bit of stuff in Sunset Harbor, downtown Edgewater. That's where I was living at the time. So, I mean, I was a generalist at that point, right? Anything and everything that I could get my hands on, networking, talking, just trying to figure out, who was going to be moving, leases rolling, anything, right? I would take anything. I was a real estate whore.
Yeah.
So,
As are we all.
yeah.
What was the first deal? What was the first check?
That's a good question. I don't know.
You don't remember?
I should look back. Yeah. I remember the first.
What was the first one that you do remember? Like, with the first big one?
I don't remember the first big deal. Well, I take it back. There was a big office deal I did in Aventura. I remember that because that was like my first multi-million-dollar deal, and I couldn't believe it. But I also remember the first time that I saw my name on a sign, which was off Miami Gardens. As I drove down here today, it made me think of it. It was like some random street that had no visibility, right? There's like maybe a couple hundred cars that go by a day, but my name was on the sign, and I was so
So you
proud.
got the listing.
No, I was like asked to help with it or something. It wasn't
Gotcha.
even my listing, right? But I just remember that moment where I was like, okay, like I made it.
Yeah.
My name's on a sign.
We're official.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Yeah. I'm here to
That's awesome.
stay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was a cool moment. But like I said, I had amazing times. I met and worked with great people, and we were all pushing each other, right? So first in, last out, trying to make more calls. We had a great environment. We all worked our ass off, and it was fun. So I wouldn't trade it.
What did you end up focusing on at Metro One? Any particular asset?
Retail for the most part. Yeah.
Retail.
A little bit industrial as well. But so as time went on, I wanted to focus on Broward and really Palm Beach because that's where my heart was. It's where I'm born and raised. So I became the Broward and Palm Beach director essentially, and the goal was to try to.
When did you go up to? When did you assume that?
2014 maybe.
Okay, so 3 years in, you're like, I'm going back home and
something like that. Yeah. And so I wanted to build a book of business up north. Time went on, and I realized the company's focus was really going to remain down in Miami. That's where the heartbeat was, and that's really I think still to this day, like where they shine best.
Yeah.
So I made the difficult decision to leave, and that's when I started Native Realty.
What year was that?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did 6 years at Metro One, 3 years in
I think like
3 years in Miami,
yeah.
and 3 years and then 4 years in Fort Lauderdale.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Was that a big jump for you, starting your own brokerage, or was it kind of just same shit, different logo?
It was a big jump in the sense everyone told me not to do it, right? So any mentor that I had at the time was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this." They're like, "Don't do it." It's gonna
Really? Why?
I don't know.
The reasons that people don't want to start brokerages, to me, are always kind of silly. They're like, "Oh, back of house, paperwork, printer." Like, I don't know. It's never that compelling.
Yeah. Probably perceived risk, I think,
But it's the same risk.
I mean, look, I did it, right? I said, to hell with your advice.
I mean, listen, there are more expenses, but
it's negligible.
It's
for whatever the brokerage is taking.
Yeah.
I don't know what Metro One was, but traditionally we're talking between probably like 30-40%, right? That you're giving to the house for marketing and the printer and the back of house. It's kind of silly. Like, we're talking, if you do a big deal, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. So yeah, again, everyone told me not to do it, but I threw their caution to the wind and did it anyways.
Sent it.
Yep.
Love it.
So.
And what were the early years like? 17, 18? How'd that go?
They were great. I mean, we came out of the gate strong. Again,
but you kind of hit the ground running already, right? Because you were at Metro One, and so you rolled a bunch of your clients over to Native.
I didn't take any clients actually. That was like one thing that I was very mindful of. I just started, I mean, every day I was encyclopedia-like knowledge, right? I know every single owner. I called them, I contacted them, I followed up. And
which market were you focused on?
Flagler
Village.
Yeah. So that was where we opened our first office.
Why Flagler Village? What was it that you liked about Flagler Village?
So, yeah, I guess we'll back up a second. So I was bringing a bunch of people up from Wynwood to Flagler Village because I thought that it was going to be the next big neighborhood.
And what year is this? Like 15?
Probably, yeah.
It's like right when I kind of lose track of where Flagler Village is, but Morgan Group built that multifamily building there. Is that Flagler Village?
It is,
where Morgan built it?
Okay. Yeah, it's on 3rd Ave.
Because I was up there early too. I was up there in like 14 probably, marketing a site directly north of there, co-marketing a site. And I was friends with Evan Schlecker from Morgan.
Okay, sure.
And we looked at a bunch of sites together. And I remember when they built that. And that's kind of when I first heard of Flagler Village.
Yeah. So I was bringing up, I guess we'll back up. So I was bringing a bunch of people up, and I found a specific opportunity in Flagler Village.
And you're bringing them up because you were saying this is kind of a corollary to what's going on in Wynwood, but cheaper, makes more sense.
Exactly, right? And I said, look, I think there's a lot of parallels here. I know the city like the back of my hand better than anybody, and we need different things, right? So one of the other reasons that I had gone down to Miami when I left college was all my friends were leaving Fort Lauderdale. They were all moving to different cities, right? Nobody wanted to move back to Lauderdale. It was not cool.
And why is that? Where were they going?
New York, Chicago,
the sexy
LA.
cities.
Yeah, and rightfully so, right? I mean, like Lauderdale was sleepy and tired and boring. It was our parent city. Like nothing had changed. Honestly, like only in the last 10 years have like we really started to effectuate the change that we've been working towards.
Because before that, it was kind of like, I grew up in Minnesota. It was kind of not that bad, but it was close. Like a lot of chain restaurants, malls, just like boring shit.
100%.
Yeah. It's America. When you come south of Broward, that's when Miami is just like another country.
Yeah.
But now Broward, like to your point, it feels pretty cool. Like
we've covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. But at that time, it was not cool.
Right.
And that bummed me out, right? Because I was losing all my friends that I had grown up with since pre-K. And so I wanted to try to figure out like, how can we bring some of that in, right? Like there's an opportunity, right? That's the void in the market, is like that whole asset class of, retail and restaurant and breweries and coffee shops and all those things. So there was a property in Flagler Village called, it wasn't called anything at the time. It was a warehouse.
Some of you might know that I'm in the middle of building a Live Local project right now, and finding an internet provider was way more annoying than it should have been. Endless acronyms, pricing all over the place, and me chasing these guys for proposals. Then luckily, I came across Celerity Fiber, South Florida's boutique internet provider for new developments and multifamily communities. Working with them feels like working with a company your friend owns. They actually answer calls and texts, send quotes fast, and are genuinely great to work with. Celerity designs and installs fiber internet built for modern living. Fast, reliable, and ready from day one. From luxury high-rises to affordable communities, they deliver high-speed, scalable internet with white-glove service and local support. The kind big internet service providers just can't match. So if you want to future-proof your property and keep your residents happy, check out celerityfiber.com. That's spelled Celerity, fiber.com, and let them know the Built World sent you. Celerity Fiber, powering connections, elevating experiences.
And just to back it up, Flagler Village 10 years ago was predominantly small bay warehouses, right?
There was a lot of small bay warehouse. There's also
Retail.
a lot of like low end multifamily.
Okay.
Very little retail.
Yeah.
There was also just massive tracts of land on Federal
Just
Highway
grass.
that
I was
were
gonna say,
vacant.
just literally grass.
But the good bones were the warehouses.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was sort of like where the investment thesis came from, right? So I had identified this warehouse that was, I want to say like 15,000 square feet. And I brought a bunch of guys from Wynwood up that I had been working on properties down here with. I had proven my worth to them. And I said, hey guys, I really think that this is going to be the next opportunity, right? And I hate kind of drawing a direct parallel with Wynwood because it's not, right? They are different neighborhoods, but there's similarities. So for purposes of this conversation, let's just say it's the next Wynwood. They all looked at me and they're like, you're crazy. Like, this will not work. This is a dumb idea. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, no, there's no way. Like I know in my bones, like this is going to work. And so after everybody passed, I wound up saying, I'm just going to do it myself. And so I bootstrapped it with friends and family, and I raised the money to buy the warehouse.
How much you pay for the warehouse?
$2 million, 2.5
For a 15,000 square foot warehouse.
Yeah. Or maybe even less, because there was a couple properties that were all bought at the same time. Might have been 1.75. I don't know. And I underwrote the property at $18 a foot modified gross. It performed at 25 triple net, like within a year. Stabilized the whole thing, leased it. Then we did it again across the street.
You guys turned it into a retail?
Yeah. So like gut renovation, brought in Wells Coffee, which is kind of like our version of Panther Coffee at the time. Invasive Species Brewing, amazing brewery, still there to this day. Monse Swim, bunch of great brands.
And what was it like raising capital for the first deal? I mean, that's never easy.
Yeah, I mean, they put faith in me, right? And again, so like it was on my shoulders that the failure was not an option. There was no plan B. But I'm incredibly fortunate that they trusted in the vision, and thankfully it worked out.
Did you use a bank financing also?
No,
it was all cash.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you scrabbled together enough cash just to take the whole thing down.
Yep. Take the whole
and you
thing down
financed the acquisition and the
CapEx.
capex.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
And did you build out all those spaces for the tenants, or did they come in?
Yeah. I'm a big believer that most tenants lack spatial visualization, right?
Agreed.
So it's
And
like,
capital.
and time, right?
Yeah.
I get calls all the time. They're like, "Hey, I need to move." I'm like, "Great, when's your lease up?" They're like, "Tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh boy." So I always tell my clients, I'm like, "Look, if you want to do it, if you build it, they will come, right?" And so people don't see the vision. You have to paint it for them.
I mean, that's true across the board.
100%.
Even like designer ready condos.
Yeah. So
You guys still own the property?
no, so I'll get to that in a moment. So we did that one, then the one across the street, and then I found another one like 2 blocks down the street. Same thesis, same execution, but that one, I think the highest lease we might have done was like 45 a foot triple net. Similar basis, right? So we went from like, it worked at 18 gross to 45 triple net.
Wow.
So then a couple years went by, we stabilized it, it was cash flowing, and we sold it for 13 and change million, which was a record, beyond all records at that time for that neighborhood, right? And then so all of those investors that I had brought from Wynwood that had told me I was crazy, now were calling me saying, what else can we buy in the neighborhood, right? It had been earned out, proven. We had 30 signed leases across all the different things to prove it. And so that was the thesis, right? And
And how did you structure it with all the cash investors? Did you do GPLP situation?
Yeah,
or?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, so
And you got to promote on the.
Yep,
Cool.
exactly. So sweat equity, and that's why I wanted to sell at the time, right? If I had structured it differently in hindsight, I would have kept it. But it's just the way I had the waterfall worked out.
Yeah. Normally the GP always needs to sell to get to their distribution.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So that was the groundwork, right? And so since then, we've worked on creating a number of other neighborhoods in Fort Lauderdale and beyond, right? But like if we're just talking about Lauderdale for a moment, like Studio City is a big one, right? It was formerly 13th Street, which was like an east-west thoroughfare just north of Sunrise, really well located. So like Wilton Manors to the north, Fort Lauderdale to the south, and it runs parallel to Sunrise Boulevard. So became a really popular neighborhood. So kind of similar story where with this one, I went in and contacted all the property owners and said, hey, here's the track record of what we've done, right? I've leased several million square feet, leased and sold several million square feet in Flagler Village. Here's everything that we've done. This is what I think we can do with this street. And if we all row in the same direction and everyone's making, relatively similar improvements to the property and we're all targeting a similar tenant, rising tide lifts all ships. And so what took me, say, 10 years in Flagler Village, we were able to do in maybe 2 years in Studio City. And we're still working on it, right? And we're raising rents and buying and selling buildings for clients and that sort of thing. But what we were able to accomplish in that particular case study was maybe a quarter of the time that it took us before. So as we have different iterations, we're able to be a little bit more efficient with it.
I mean, it's a really cool approach. What were the other owners' initial reactions when you reached out to them? I don't know if that would work in Miami. I think a lot of people would tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, well, I've had plenty of that in my life.
Or they wouldn't believe you, or you're full of shit, but it's a smart thing. I always wonder when you see developers do a project, like a big developer, like related to as a balance sheet. Like I always wonder, why don't they buy everything, around it and do the whole thing?
Yeah,
but this is kind of the
and just to clarify,
more organic way to do that.
Yeah, so we're not buying everything around it, right?
No, I get it.
I was just going to all the property owners and saying,
yeah,
here's this asset that you own. Here's what you're getting on it. Here's what I can do for you, right? I need some help from you. I need you to make these improvements and we need to go after this tenant mix. And this is really what we need to sort of be patient and wait for, right? We're not just going to jump anytime somebody throws an LOI at us. It needs to be thoughtful. It needs to be designed.
And are you repositioning, asking them to reposition from industrial to retail or?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times. Yeah. Because again, that particular street, had a lot of industrial bay, not all of it. Some of it was just tired retail, Class C retail or office, or multifamily in some instances. But we went in and got everybody to row in the same direction. And we were the bond that everybody was connected by. And again, we were able to do that in 2 years, right? So things there were $15 a foot and we took it to $25 triple net in 18 months, right?
And it's a super smart strategy as a broker too, because you get all the listings too, I would assume.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah. So it's been great. And so to your point, part of it is the proof is in the pudding, right? So if they didn't believe me, I'd say jump in my car and I'll go show you. I mean, again, several million square feet that I've either leased or sold 3 blocks south of here, right? And you need any reference, I have them. I mean, pick anyone in town that you want to call or talk to. I'll put them on the phone right now and they'll sing my praises because I do what I say and I say what I do. And so that was it, right? Obviously easier said than done. But again, certain neighborhoods turn faster than others too, right? So like, there's certain neighborhoods that people have been telling me for years, like, oh, I want to go into this neighborhood. And I'm like, well, we can, right? And we should, but I need you to understand, like, some of the sellers there are going to be more challenging, right? Sistrunk's a great example of that. So
what is?
Sistrunk? So Sistrunk is a neighborhood just to the west of Flagler Village. Super cool neighborhood now. But at the time, let's say go back 10 years when we were talking Flagler Village and my clients were like, hey, I want, Sistrunk's right here, right? It in a lot of instances, it's 1 block away. And they said, well, why not there? And the short answer was, when you go door to door and a lot of these people are owner occupants, it's a much harder conversation to have to get them to consider selling their building or even making these improvements to lease it, right? They're like, I've been, turning these wrenches here for 50 years and I'm going to fucking die on this property. And like, there is no money in the world that you could give me that would change, that mentality, right? And so Sistrunk has now finally come around, and it's an amazing neighborhood, and we're doing a ton of leasing there, and there's vertical development, all these things. But it took a lot longer to turn, right? And so like reading the tea leaves of the ownership profile to understand if they're going to be receptive or if they're going to be combative is really important too, because you could throw the same money at two different neighborhoods and your ROI could be, you might get it in 2 years or you might get it in 20 years.
So and how big are these neighborhoods? Like Studio City, how many blocks is that?
So Studio City roughly is like from 4th Avenue to the train track. So it's probably a mile long.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a retail strip. So it used to be 4 lanes. It was like a highway. And the city went in, created a CRA, took 2 lanes and made them dedicated street parking.
That's
so
awesome.
Choked down the traffic a little bit, but that also slowed things down. So it became more of a retail experience. Created an abundance of on-site parking, which is huge. So now all of a sudden when you take, let's say, these industrial buildings and you try to go to something more intensive like retail or restaurant, you now have the parking to be able to satiate it. And just from a practical perspective, like you can do more intensive uses.
Felipe, ever since we moved into Bureau, my productivity has been through the roof. I mean, I might actually be getting things done for once.
The energy at Bureau just makes work fun. Plus, with 8 locations across South Florida, from South Miami all the way to Hollywood, there's no excuse for not finding a spot to get your shit done, Ben.
And we're not alone. Over 500 local companies call Bureau home. Everything from creative agencies and real estate firms to tech startups, law firms, and media companies. It's a melting pot of brilliant people, and we don't include ourselves in that category.
We definitely don't include ourselves in that category. Bureau really has space for anyone, whether you're flying solo or have a team. There are suites starting at 100 square feet all the way up to 2,000 square feet. They also don't try to lock you into long-term agreements, and everything is month to month.
Let's not forget the important stuff either. The coffee is top tier, staff is incredible, and has a very entrepreneurial vibe. It's not just a workspace, it's a place where work actually gets done.
That's right, Ben. So if you want to level up your workday like we try to do every day, check out Bureau. You might even catch us sipping some espressos between podcast sessions.
Or tequila.
Definitely tequila.
Tell Bureau the Built World sent you, and you'll get 50% off your first month's membership. See you out there. Cheers.
Later. But Studio City and then Flagler Village, I mean, early on when you got there, are you saying that most of the property owners there were not owner users? They were mostly investors?
In Flagler, they mostly were owner users, and that was really challenging. And that took a long time. I mean, I have deals that I worked on for 5-10 years sometimes, where I'm meeting with them quarterly for a decade to earn their trust. And then eventually one day they wake up on the right side of the bed and they say, okay, Jamie, I'm finally ready to sell, let's talk about it. Transversely, when you go into a neighborhood that is an investment, less emotional attachment, right? They're more receptive. They're looking at it pragmatically, where it's like, okay, input, output, what you're saying makes sense. I should do that. That's a smart business decision versus from the perspective of like, I inherited this. I've worked here my entire life. My children need it. I will die on this hill before I sell for any amount of money. And like, to hell with the developers. Like, they're ruining my city. 2 very different places.
So Studio City was more of an investor?
Correct. Yeah. Almost no one that we dealt with there was an owner occupant. They were all investors, which makes all the difference in the world from a timing perspective.
And the size sounds like it's able to be mobilized to convert more rapidly, because we hear neighborhoods in Miami that are the next to blow. Like Little Havana's been the next to blow since like I got here in 2010, and it's the same shit. Like, it's just too big of an area. I feel like there's too many people involved.
So that's a really good point too, right? It's like the concentration to be able to affect the change is really important as well. And so when we've gone into neighborhoods where, to your point, it's too large to change the tide, that is a tide in and of itself, right? It's a current that you're swimming against in order to try to effectuate the change. So yeah, I mean, when you can go somewhere that you can control the narrative, and again, kind of all the neighborhoods that we've gone into since then, we try to do that. We try to go and be the unifying force to bring everybody together and say, hey, here's the vision, here's how we're going to do it, here's what it's going to look like for you, and here's going to be the outcome. And if we can get everyone to subscribe to that and believe in it and see it, and stick to it, most importantly, because it's not a contractual thing, right? They could change their mind at any time and say, I don't want to invest this anymore. Or, hey, I'm just going to sit on my hands and like let all my neighbors do the heavy lifting and then I'll be the beneficiary of it. You got to get everybody like really on board and hope that they stick to it. But when we've been able to do that, we've been able to drastically change neighborhoods. I mean, in a really short amount of time and create tremendous value for these clients.
I'm sure. Are you working on any new ones right now? Is there any new places that
We're working on a bunch, yeah. So again, Studio City is still moving forward, right? So, we took that from when we started it, let's call it 18 gross to 25 net. We just did a deal there at, I think, $47 a foot triple net. So, again, that's in a 5-year period, 18 gross to 47 net, big change.
And tenants are able to continue to pay these rents because there's a point at which they're kind of tapped out too, I would assume.
Yeah, well, so some of them are national tenants, right? I mean, we've brought some people. There's been some, I call it displacement from Flagler Village to Studio City, right? Because a lot of the stuff in Flagler has been purchased by multifamily developers and it's being torn down for vertical development. And so when that happens, they need to find another place to land. And sometimes they can land in Flagler or maybe be built into another project. But if they don't have that timeline that they can wait, they want to find somewhere else that's close and, is convenient. Studio City checks that box for a lot of people. And it's less expensive than Flagler now, right? So, I mean, some of the stuff in Flagler can be $60, $70 a foot triple net. So 45, relatively speaking, for certain brands, right? It's not for everybody. And there's other less expensive stuff within that neighborhood, but that's sort of main, like the prime flagship stuff, is a good fit.
Makes sense. So is this kind of I cut you off because we were talking about Studio City, and then what else you're working on at other neighborhoods? Is this kind of the MO of Native that you're going to go around and get all these owners to agree to work together to make the neighborhood great again?
Better.
Yeah, I mean, we're very passionate about that part, right? Like that's the fun part when we can go into a neighborhood that is like derelict and everybody writes off and just says, oh, it's too crime ridden or it's too this or it's too that. And then fast forward a couple of years, you come back and it's the hot spot everybody wants to be at. I mean, we live for that. So yes, we're doing a bunch of stuff in Sistrunk right now. Again, a neighborhood. Growing up as a kid,
and that's just west of Studio City?
That's just west of Flagler.
West of Flagler.
Yeah.
Okay.
But growing up as a kid, I mean, it was a very like poverty-stricken, crime-ridden, like open-air drug deals. Not even as a kid. I mean, frankly, a couple of years ago, like it was a rough neighborhood. And so to see that change not only within our lifetime, but like intra 5 years has been really, really cool.
And what's the housing stock or the property stock in what's the name of it?
Sistrunk.
Sistrunk. What is it?
There's a bunch of new ground up development that's happening right now. I mean, probably to the tune of like 1,000 units, which again, is
that the Hines project or is that?
Hines is essentially right at the divide in between Flagler and Sistrunk, but it is actually technically on Sistrunk. So Sistrunk is the road that it's 6th Street.
Okay.
And so they are technically touching it.
Because that's like 1,000 units, isn't it? That's a huge
project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're doing cool stuff with the wood too, aren't they? Like
the
timber
construction. The T3 Timber Tech. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I can't wait to see it.
Have you gotten a tour of it? They did a tour kind of recently, didn't they?
They did. I missed it. Yeah.
We missed it too. We got invited, but we had something else going on.
Yeah. Now I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be a really good thing for the city, and it's going to plug one of the holes. I mean, even years ago, before Flagler was like really where it is now, I was getting calls from big groups that were already in Miami, not like the Spotifys, but in that realm, looking for a big office presence in downtown Fort Lauderdale, but they didn't want to be on, in our CBD, which is a little bit more like cookie cutter sort of mainstream. They wanted something a little bit more eclectic and a little bit more character. And we just didn't have it, right? I was trying to stitch together warehouses, but I would never have the parking and, all these different things. So it's going to be good for the city.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what a cool angle as a broker, because you can continue to ride that wave for as long as you continue to stay top of mind in those markets. There's always going to be business there.
Yeah. And again, I mean, a lot of what we do is repeat business. So, we're helping to
make sense. Are you guys investing as principals anymore, or are you?
Occasionally. So I always joke, it's like, I'll go into the neighborhood when all of my clients say no, right? Kind of like back to the original thesis. Right. If I take them somewhere and I'm like, hey, I think this is gonna be the next thing. And everybody that I take it to is like, no, you're crazy. I'm like, okay, well, here we go. And
we'll raise some capital.
yeah.
Prove you motherfuckers wrong.
So I'll do that. I don't know, maybe every 5 years or something. I'll go into some new submarket and try to prove it out, and then bring everybody else in afterwards after I've put the writing on the wall.
How do you go about selecting or curating tenants? I know that's a big part of what you guys do. I mean, there's only so many cool coffee shops and brewers that exist, and like, I don't know, how do you, what's the R&D like? A lot of drinking coffee and beer, or like what do you do to go find the cool stuff?
Twist my arm. Oftentimes in these neighborhoods, I mean, so we're a very young office, right? We have 35 agents in total, and I would say the average age is probably 35. So we are the consumer in most of these markets. And so if I need to get a pulse on if something's going to work or not, I just bring it up at a sales meeting. It's like, hey, what do you guys think about this concept? Here's their background. Here's where they want to be. Sink or swim, right? And people will be like, oh, that's going to kill it. Or I don't know about that. Here's what I think might be a better fit. And so our R&D department is really ourselves. And again, like, we are the customer in a lot of these markets. And so that's been fun, but also very efficient.
You guys doing any shitty paddle courts up there, or no?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Good. I like to hear that. And there's so many down here.
I'm waiting for that wave to come up. It's coming.
You think it's coming?
100%.
Oh my God.
I know it.
Dude, they're in every corner here in Miami.
Yeah, it's we're still in the pickle phase.
Yeah,
but I know that it's coming.
Yeah.
Pickle's more white, I feel like, right? More gringo.
Yeah,
more gringo for sure.
Paddle's more Latin.
It is more Latin.
Padel. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to the Padel players.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Built World Advisors. Yeah, that's us. We're not your typical commercial brokerage. We combine deep market knowledge with a media platform that actually connects to people doing deals, the developers, brokers, architects, and attorneys.
Let's not forget the investors, Ben. From warehouses in East Hialeah to off-market gems in Allapattah, we help you find value where others aren't looking. If you're tired of waiting for opportunities to land in your inbox, let's talk.
Built World Advisors, real estate for the people who get shit done. You can check us out at builtworldadvisors.com. And you guys grew pretty quick, right? I saw something that you had to change 4 headquarter moves, and
yeah. So
in 4 years, every year you've been moving headquarters.
So I think
or something like that.
Yeah, so we're I guess going on 8 years now. But yeah, we've had 4 offices. We've outgrown them, so it's been a good problem to have. But it's kept us busy. But where we are now, I think we have some room to grow. Although, again, my ambitions are always high, so I want to constantly, raise the bar, do more volume, add more people. Again, the right people. We're very selective with it, but yeah, so far 4 offices.
That's awesome. And how do you recruit all these agents? Where do they come from?
It's almost all been organic.
Yeah, they reach out to you.
They come and find us, or they talk to. I mean, not to tout ourselves, but the company is a family, right? And it sounds so cliche to say that, but it's true. I mean, we all hang out socially and do pickleball or drinking.
You shouldn't say those words on this podcast. we may have to kick him out of here, right, Ben?
Well, he surfs too, so he's cool.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And he mountain bikes too. So
yeah, there you go.
We can keep him for another 20 minutes or so.
That works.
So yeah, we go diving together, and so again, it's a family, right? And so when people are interacting with other brokers that we think are a good fit, somebody will say, hey, are you happy where you're at? Have you thought about this? The other thing, we have 100 listings or more at any given time. So the inbound lead funnel that we have as a company is so massive that we're giving out leads to all the agents. So like the opposite of what I started with, we have this massive inbound lead funnel that is going to all these people so that they're warm leads that they can just go run down and perform. And so if you're talented and your follow through is there, there's tremendous opportunity to make a lot of money.
That's great to hear, because that's one thing that always drove me nuts about brokerages is they just don't do anything for the agents.
Yeah.
And leads is the number one most crucial thing agents need. Is like that lead is the top of funnel is the hardest thing to get. So if you're providing leads to agents, it's huge.
Right. We have more leads than we have people to service them sometimes.
That's
a
amazing.
Good problem, but it's a problem nonetheless, right? So
because it's tough too, because you're still doing your own deals, right? Mm-hmm. How do you balance being a broker and managing other brokers? Are you guys ever like competing for deals, or like how do you?
Never. So my job is to rainmake, right? I want to go and secure more listings and help agents close listings. So I always tell them like, hey, if you want me to come on a listing pitch with you and close any size business, big or small, I'm there, and that's what I do, right? And so I bring the business in. I have an amazing team. We have in-house marketing, all these things to be able to create the systems behind it. And then all of those leads, because they're essentially their house leads, they're my listings, I just flow them straight through to the agent, right? Because I win when they win. So like, unlike, if I'm a national Cushman or whatever, and I have to answer to shareholders, then all they care about is the bottom line. All I care about is making everyone successful, because when they're successful, I'm successful. So all these listings that come in and all the leads that come into the company, I distribute them to the team. And if there's another broker, great. I just slide out of it and I put them in my seat as the listing lead. That it's that simple.
But you still do your own deals too, right? You still do your own listings.
I do, yeah. So I focus on investment sales more so than anything else, and really retail investment sales.
And does your pool of agents, where do they kind of land in terms of leasing, sales? Do you guys do everything? Like
pretty evenly weighted. So everyone has an asset class and like a geography that they specialize in, and we run through that weekly, so that not only is it like second nature if somebody, if you're at a cocktail party, whatever, that you can explain your value proposition, but also so within the team, everyone knows, okay, like you're the guy for industrial and Sistrunk, right? And you're the one who's focusing on F&B in, the urban core or what have you. So everyone has, jack of all trades, master of none, right? I live and die by that philosophy. I think if you're a generalist to everything, then you're a master at nothing.
Yep. 100% agree.
And what happens if, this is interesting, and I don't know, what happens if CBD guy gets a lead where industrial guy is focused? Does he get a referral, or does he take the lead, or how do you handle that in the office?
So it's an interesting point. I'm a big believer in, again, the jack of all trades, master of none, but also not being put in a box, right? So like, for instance, when I was leaving Metro and I was deciding if I was going to do my own thing or if I was going to go to a different company, I went and interviewed with the big shops, and I had this exact conversation where I was like, okay, I have this client, Jack, right? And like, you want me to be your retail guy, but he comes to me and he's like, hey, I want you specifically to sell this industrial warehouse for me. Like, what happens? And they're like, oh, you don't talk to Jack anymore. Right. He's not your friend. And I'm like, well, Jack's only going to work with me. And they're like, no. Like, Jack is not your friend anymore. And I was like, okay, like, we're done. So flexibility, right? Like, you have to be able to bend and work with the market. And I also believe that, the problem with that philosophy, and the other like major issue, and I had this conversation with them at the time, is I was like, well, everything's cyclical in our business, right? So what you're telling me is half of my career, I will be in the trough of the wave eating shit. And the other half, I will be at the peak of the wave doing well, right? And that's it. And he was like, yes, that is kind of how it's going to work. And I was like, okay, I believe you have to be flexible enough that your asset classes and your geographies change, right? Every year we make individualized business plans for all of our agents. They do. And we help and coach them through it. And we review it quarterly. We're like, all right, let's check in. Are you doing well? Is it working? What's not working? Like, do we need to trim fat? But that changes every year, right? Because if you're just the retail guy for 10 years, or let's say 12, right? If cycles are historically 6 years, half of your career was great and the other half of your career was terrible, because our business is extremely cyclical. So you have to be flexible enough, right? It's like the cruise ship versus the speedboat. We're always the speedboat. You have to be able to turn, and you have to be able to pivot and change and be dynamic with the market, or you die.
No, I love that. I hate rules. And so when I run into walls like that with like the same thing, we've talked to the big shops too. And it's, you feel like you're just tied down. You can't move.
Yeah. And like, for instance, during COVID, all the brokers that I spoke to at those big shops, I was like, hey, how you doing? And they're like, fucking terrible. They're like, I am dying over here. And I was like, oh man, like, have you considered? And they're like, can't do it. I'm like, a bunch of them retired that I was friends with. They were just like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. So if you get pigeonholed to that lane, you're going to die in it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So you gotta be flexible. Can't be so rigid.
What keeps you hungry about real estate and doing deals and being a broker? Because you're an outdoors guy. You like being outside. I can relate to that. And sometimes pushing button on the computer all day gets kind of old. So what keeps you?
Yeah. So I go through waves, right? And lately, actually, one of the things that's been energizing me is Miami, which I never thought I would say, right? Because when I left, I was like, all right, like, had a great time, this, that, and the other, but like that chapter is closed. I've been coming down here a lot on the weekends, just like hang out, my wife and I. the energy down here and like the new concepts and all those things, like that's my new energy, right? Like I'm building off of that where I'm like,
When
okay.
you say concepts, like retail concepts that are coming down here?
Everything. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like the restaurants down here are just insane. They're
Yeah.
amazing. Like, and it inspires me where I'm like, okay, like we've got some pretty cool stuff and we have some amazing restaurants, but the bar is so much higher and like we could do so much better, you know? And like the architecture and the design. I mean, I was sitting in Double Knot with my wife and we were looking around and I was like, every square inch of this restaurant was contemplated, like, and designed before anyone did anything, you know? And like, it's a piece of art. So those things, like, they inspire me. I've been just full of energy and fuel when I've been coming down here. I'm like, okay, cool. Like,
That's awesome.
We got to raise the bar higher. Like,
What's Double Knot? I haven't heard of it.
It is a restaurant from, I think Philadelphia in Wynwood.
Okay.
It's right next to Wynwood Walls.
Okay.
Really, really good. But I mean, all of them that I've been going to recently, like every single one I walk into, I'm just like, this place is amazing. You know, like the bar is so high. So I love the idea of like continuing to challenge ourselves, go out, find bigger and better concepts, bring them to the city, right? And raise our own bar. So like, that's the part that gets me going.
That gets you excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I felt going to New York in like 2010, 2011, the first time I saw like a food hall, like the Chelsea Food Market or something. You're like, oh, this is sick. Like we need this. Now that's all come and gone, but you know, travel always inspires like that kind of energy.
100%.
So, do you hire agents without experience or just agents with experience?
Both.
Yeah.
So we brought on a lot of people that are brand new, right? And so we always kind of go back and forth, right? It's like on one hand, it's amazing when you get a senior broker who really knows their stuff and doesn't need hand-holding. The trade-off is oftentimes they come with bad habits, right? And you have to kind of like work through those and be like, no, we need to use the CRM. It's important. It helps you.
So you
It's
guys
your
use a
friend.
CRM?
Oh yeah.
What do you guys use?
Pipedrive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm huge on organization, right? Like I'm not the best student. I am not the smartest person in a lot of rooms that I go into. I am the most persistent and I'm one of the more organized. Those are my superpowers, right? Like I will continue to follow up with you in a tactful way until I get what I want. And that oftentimes is the difference in between getting or losing the business, right? Like staying top of mind, proof stacking, all of these things.
And you can get your agents on board to using Pipedrive?
Everyone does, yeah.
Everyone does?
I mean, you can't exist in the ecosystem without it, right? And it's your friend. And we've made it, I mean, I can't tell you how many iterations we've gone through of revising it and simplifying it. And, you know, look, it's an asset. It should be working for the agents. And when used correctly, it makes their lives simpler.
And agents, so I'm just curious because Ben and I use HubSpot. It's just me and Ben right now, and we're thinking about bringing on some new people on. There's no issue with contacts and agents feeling like this is, you know, I'm not going to feed your database. This is, you know, it's not my database.
No. Well, so like as far as like agent to agent, they're all siloed. Like they're not going to see each other's. As far as like agent to company, it's never been a problem. Again, I mean, I go back to, I don't want to sound cliche with it, but like the family, I mean, respect is like the foundation of everything at the company. We've never had any issue. No one's ever brought that up. It's never been a problem.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Look,
because listen, you know, a lot of agents really value their database, right? Like the contacts, the email addresses. That's a really tough piece of the business to get accurate.
Sure.
And so, you know, a lot of them don't want to share that with the broker because, you know, that's a lot of work that they put into it. So just curious on how you handle that.
We've never had any issue with it. And again, I mean, it's built up to make their lives simpler and help them get more business and do more transactions. And, you know, there's automations built into it. And we create drip campaigns. And I mean, all of these things amplify their business.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And they're not, most times, 99% of the time, they're not utilizing them, right? So it's like, hey, you now have this added service. We're paying for it. It's free to you, right? And there's a bunch of things like that we do, you know, that I'm like, hey guys, like you should utilize this. It's for your benefit. And they see once they do it once, like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's next for Native? What's your grand vision? And then what's the 10-year? Do you have a goal in mind or?
We do. Yeah. So, this will be our biggest year. We're going to do 350 million. And the goal is we just hit $1 billion in lifetime sales earlier this year. And we want to do $1 billion in annual sales in the next 2 years. So we want to do 700 million next year. We want to do $1 billion the following year.
So just keep growing the brokerage, keep doing more volume.
Yeah. But I largely want to do that. I mean, we may add a couple people, but we had this whole talk yesterday at our sales meeting. I want everyone on the team to be able to amplify their sales, right? I want it to come organically from inside the company. I want to help them close bigger deals and land bigger business and aim higher, right? I was telling the team, I was like, the $10 million deal and the $1 million deal, the $10 million deal is easier.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They're not asking you a million questions, and that like they've been through this. It's muscle memory. So I want everyone to aim higher.
Yeah, no one's getting cold feet. No one's asking what a phase 2 is. It's just clicking the buttons.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
But it's intimidating when you're younger. You're like, oh, I don't want to call the $10 million
It's
guy.
a lot of zeros.
Yeah, but
you don't want to sound like an idiot.
Yeah, I'm like, let's jump on a call. Let's bring them into the office. Like, I will take that meeting with you. Like, let's whatever the impediment is, I will either teach it to you or I will do it with you so that you're comfortable and can do it. We have the resources. I can get to anyone that I need to. And within the company, we probably already know them. Like, what's the target? Let's go get it.
That's awesome. Any inclination to develop or do any kind of principal investing in the future, or are you just focused on building native?
Just focused on the business, yeah. I mean, we want to expand north. Palm Beach is squarely on our target. We're working on pushing further and further north. We're doing some more stuff up in there. We just brought a really cool listing out in Delray, right off Atlantic Avenue, and we're doing some stuff further north from that. But that's the future.
You don't want to come in and try to what's the word? Elbow your way into Miami.
I never could get my Spanish down, and I'm not going to try now.
That's awesome. Yeah. And any trips on the books? I saw you just got back from a pretty cool surf trip.
Yeah.
Las Flores.
Yeah, dude. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh
Where is Las Flores?
So it is in El Salvador.
Okay.
Which I went to like 10 years ago when it was the murder capital of the world. Now it is supposedly the safest place in the world.
Oh, yeah, they arrested everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to read a book on how he did that because it's unbelievable.
You just sweep everyone up, whether they're innocent or guilty, and just throw them in prison.
Yeah. I guess, I did kind of hear that. But everyone there was really happy. I mean, like everyone we talked to, all the locals were like, man, you have no idea. They're like, we can go outside.
Dude, it was a bad situation in El Salvador. It's unbelievable how, it was really the murder capital of the world.
Yeah, it was like they were competing with like Senegal at the time. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's no longer like that.
No, it was gorgeous. Waves were insane. Resort was beautiful. I'd go back in a heartbeat. But to answer your question, I'm going to Nicaragua next week with the family.
Nice.
So we're going to do some surfing down there.
You bring your boards with you, or do you rent boards down there?
I don't know what I'm going to do with this because this is like a true family trip.
Right.
There's like
you already got
no
enough
boys,
suitcases
no boys coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I might. I don't know.
Might sneak one in.
Yeah. Well, if I bring one, I'm going to bring the coffin. I'm going to bring 3 or 4.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
Real surfing's too hard for me. It's too much paddling. Just trying to get out there, it's just like, man, fuck that. By the time I get out there, I'm exhausted. I'm dead.
Dad's a pussy. He likes to get pulled around by a boat.
I'm a wakeboarder, so throw me the rope, pull me up. I'm good to go.
It's so soft. It's so soft, man.
But no trips.
Okay.
But I'm a big wakeboarder.
Sick.
Wake surfer. Also, I'll wake surf.
Have you tried foiling yet?
Yeah, e-foiling and foiling behind the boat, but not in the ocean.
Sick.
I would do that stuff, but I need a jet ski to pull me in. I don't want to paddle around. Tow me into the wave.
The wing is kind of a cool alternative for that, especially down here because you guys have Key Biscayne, which is a great place to learn, and you have plenty of wind. So if you want to talk about that offline.
Oh, with like you hold the wing?
Yeah, big wing, and then you can flag it out.
Hectic. I feel like there's a lot going on. You got to balance the foil. You got to hold the wing. You got to...
Yeah, I've never dropped more F-bombs in my life than like floating around in the ocean when I can't beat upwind and
gnarly,
do the walk of shame with all the gear back up the beach and but once you figure it out, it's pretty magical. Yeah.
Yeah, the guys have been trying to get me to kiteboarding. I've never done kiteboarding either. I just always, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna just go wakeboarding. Like I want to go hit the wake. But
it's nice to have like the analog, especially
totally
with when you flag it out, right? If there's swell and you can ride upwind and then you just kind of drop it behind you and you're just surfing on the foil,
right?
And then you just pull it back up and you fly back upwind.
I bet it's really fun.
It's like meditation.
But when I see these guys do like the tricks, I just think it looks so lame. I'm like, dude, you're literally hanging in the air for like 30 seconds. Of course you did like a 360. Like you had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? They like float up and they're like, oh, I did a backflip. I'm like, yeah, you're literally like hanging from the sky. Of course you did. Oh man. Well, thanks for coming down, Jamie. It was fun to hear the download on Fort Lauderdale and get more information.
And, before we go, how's the market in Fort Lauderdale right now?
Busy.
It's busy.
Very busy.
Active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of. We just did a couple deals on Federal Highway. We just did a really big restaurant downtown that we're going to be able to announce soon.
You're not seeing a slowdown at all?
No.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, this is going to be our best year ever, right?
Yeah.
So and 2022 was pretty hard to beat. So I'm very bullish on 26. A lot of the investment sales that we did this year were more owner occupants or like creative seller financing, right? I mean, it's just hard to close sort of the bid between cost of capital and the cap rates. But we were very successful in being able to do that with the owner occupant deals and or seller financing. But we have a lot of dry powder that's sitting on the sidelines and a lot of clients with like shopping centers and industrial buildings and all that stuff that want to sell in 26. So I think it's going to be a really strong year. And I think, with the cut yesterday and hopefully the cost of capital coming down a little bit and that bid ask spread closing, that we'll finally be able to kind of make that work where it doesn't have to be an owner occupant. It doesn't have to have seller financing. But no, it's been busy.
You think the bid ask is going to come down because cost of capital went down?
Yeah.
I hope so. It's been a weird, down here it feels like it's been a weird 18, 24 months.
23 and 24. Again, I was just telling the team this yesterday. I was like, you guys didn't realize it, or maybe I didn't, or I didn't want to admit it more probably, because I'm like an eternal optimist in that regard. But I was like, 23 and 24 were the worst years in the business, in my opinion, since I started coming out of the global financial crisis.
That's good to know, Ben.
Yeah. It felt like it. Yeah. It felt crazy.
Yeah.
100%. Right.
Yeah.
2022 was unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Like you could just trip over deals and they were happening. But then the cost of capital went sky high, right? And so I think as that starts to come back down, deals will start to size out again. I think that there's been a little bit of lift in the cap rates, right, through the last 2 years where, stuff that we were selling at 5 caps are now 6.5 or 7 caps, right? So like they've become in line with the market. And so I think that bid ask has closed significantly and will close even more when the 10-year treasury comes down a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great to hear.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I also want these bankers to man up and start foreclosing. We need to see some action.
None of that has happened.
I know
everyone
crazy.
keeps talking about it. And
Extend and pretend, baby. Extend and pretend. I got my eye on a lot of hotels. Everyone's kicking the can.
I got some off-market hotels if you want to talk about those.
Oh, yeah, I would love to.
Yeah,
definitely. Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, it was great to get to know you and hear your story and hear more about what's going on in Fort Lauderdale. It's all the projects you've done have been super cool to see. So
thank you.
We're going to have to make an effort to get up there more. And
we do.
Explore the new areas you're working on.
Oh, we're making new friends up in Fort Lauderdale, so
we
have
are.
an excuse to go up there now.
We got a Brightline station right here.
Yeah.
We're right down the street. I'd love to host you guys.
All right, cool.
We'll do it. We'll make it happen.
All right, thanks, Jamie. Have a great afternoon, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye.